It's pretty weak. It's not a big one. It's pretty small in terms of scale, but it's significant enough that the National Weather Service decided to issue that tornado warning. We're going to take it to the east-northeast. It's moving at about 48 to 50 miles per hour. These things are really scooching along. Beebeetown, Brunswick, and Sherman Corners. We're getting into some of the old-school little crossroads here, but it is moving just to the north of Route 303 through the Brunswick area. It's coming out of Valley City into Brunswick. We are south of Boston Road, so we are very focused here into the north end of Medina County. Right now, the best rotation is south of Strongsville. It has not yet reached into Cuyahoga County. It is south of Strongsville, but we are still seeing that rotation that is evident on radar. Outside of that, we still have some very high winds that are moving along as well. As we've been keeping an eye on this particular storm as it's been coming out of Lorain County, we had severe thunderstorm warnings earlier in Huron County, Lorain County, and then we were seeing these very high velocity winds, 60, 70 mile per hour winds, which are still evident right here. Now, we've changed things a little bit. This is taking a look just at the direction of the wind coming in and going away from the radar. We've taken out the movement of the storm. I know that that may be a bit of a technicality, but the most important thing that I want to show you right now is that we have some very high-speed winds that are still moving through northern Medina County. So 50 to 60 mile per hour winds right now on just the west side of Brunswick. Those are straight line winds. And then we also have the rotation that is evident that prompted that tornado warning in northern portions of Medina County. Now, previously, Lorain County was under a severe thunderstorm warning. That has now expired. So Lorain County, you are now in the clear. I would have to say if there's any area of Lorain County that's still having some bumpy weather, it is that thumb of Lorain County that kind of extends over toward Cuyahoga and Medina County's Columbia Station, Columbia Township area, right along Columbia Road, at Route 252. So let's take a look at the radar, and let me expand this picture just a little bit. This is not a significant looking cell, okay? We don't have a huge hook echo going on. This is not the big EF5 type of a tornado, but there is enough circulation, and we have had issues in Brunswick earlier in the month. I mean, like a couple weeks ago, where we had a very similar situation, very high speed winds, and then a quick bit of rotation popped up, and that caused some damage. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is ongoing for Cuyahoga County. That's also for Medina County, with some very heavy rain that is coming down across much of Cuyahoga County at this hour. You can see how these storms are moving. They are moving very quickly, which is good. That means this is going to clear out, but sometimes the fast-moving storms, you have to add wind gusts to the movement of the storm. So even if these thunderstorms are producing only a 20 mile per hour wind gust, you have to factor that into the idea that the storm is moving at 50 miles an hour, and suddenly you get the picture that things are definitely looking a little bit more generous as far as those wind speeds go. So again, our tornado warning is specifically focused right now on the northern portion of Medina County. We are right between Brunswick and Valley City. Here's the rotation that's showing up on the radar, and that will continue to move off to the northeast. We're going to get another radar clip here very quickly as we are anticipating a new set of data to come in from the radar. But this will go over Brunswick, specifically north of 303, and then into portions of Hinckley. If you're right on Boston Road, that is the border between Cuyahoga and Medina counties in this area, that is a pretty good place that you need to be in the basement. Remember, with the tornado warning, basements are best. And outside of the basement, if you have a one-story building, then you want to get into an interior bathroom or closet, then put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that continues for much of northern Ohio for the afternoon. There you see all of the counties shaded in the light yellow. That is where we have our severe thunderstorm watch that will continue for a while here as we head through the rest of the afternoon. Certainly the conditions are there. We had the thunderstorms this morning. They backed off a little bit. Now they're starting to surge up again, as this will be the last of it, though. So big deep sigh of relief there that this is the end of it, but boy, the tail end of it seems to really be packing quite a punch. We'll get a quick check on some of the other areas where we're getting some very heavy rain. Ashtabula, Lake Geauga counties, much of Cuyahoga County dealing with that very heavy rain right now. And of course, we do have the tornado warning in Cuyahoga and and Medina counties, specifically in the north end of Medina. That we have been watching this area for the possible rotation. Still very weak rotation showing up. There's a new bit of data that just came in, and we are looking right here. This would be where that rotation is. And again, it is just north of 303. So if you're in Brunswick and you are south of 303, I'd have to say right now you're in the clear. Valley City, you are now in the clear. So that part of that storm is beyond you. Strongsville, I think you're okay. You probably have some very gusty wind happening there, but the circulating part of the storm is south of Strongsville. It is right between Boston Road and Center Road in Brunswick, Route 303. So Boston and Center, and moving east just at the north end of Medina County. So we'll kind of keep an eye on this here as it continues to move to the east. It's just about to go over 71 if it's not over 71 right now, and we'll be moving off toward Route 3. The Hinckley Reservation, part of the Cleveland Metro Parks there where the old swimming hole is with the dam, that is this area that we are talking about right now. Brunswick, Hinckley, just to the south of Boston Road in Medina County. So I think what we'll do is kind of hang out here and see. This thing was pulsing a little bit. It really wrapped up, quick circulation, and then kind of fell off, and now it's kind of looking like it might be coming around a little bit again. So I'm going to stick with it if that's possible. I'm just letting our control room know right now that I'm going to stick with this as long as I can. Because I do want to keep an eye on this as this thing is continuing to show some signs of circulation. Marcus Walter in the Weather Center with me this afternoon, handling things earlier today. Marcus, I know this morning we had the very heavy rain with some of the thunderstorms that came through. This is round 2. So what time do you think, as we go through the rest of the afternoon, as this clears, do we have another round of storms that'll be coming?
Well, I think right now we are dealing with the main batch of showers for this afternoon. And earlier we did have showers. We did have a lot more lightning earlier. These storms haven't been triggering as many lightning strikes, but again, they have triggered that tornado warning. So I think for the most part, the main action is happening right now. And then I think after this system passes through, at least these showers pass through, I think things will quiet down just a bit as we head into the late afternoon hours and then really into the overnight period. So this is the worst part of the day.
Right. Okay. So I'm just looking right now at some of the conditions across western Ohio, and it's partly sunny right now in Lima. Yes. Temperatures are in the 70s. They still have cloud cover throughout portions of Defiance and Toledo, but you can see there are some breaks in the overcast there. And as I put this into motion, you can see how all of this has kind of been evolving. This is another cold front that's coming through, and a lot of times you need a big trigger, something to really get that atmosphere going. You felt the heat, you felt the humidity, and you get that trigger throwing some extra energy in there, and it really starts to ramp things up. You can see that we are seeing some clearing in western Ohio, Indiana, and then we get back up here into portions of Wisconsin, and there's some slight showers. That's basically the forecast for tomorrow, I would have to think, that we could be seeing cloud cover and then the possibility of those scattered showers hanging around as well. But in the meantime, as we have this transition coming through, our little blast of this cold front is definitely stirring things up, and it's just this one area of greatest concern right now that still remains in northern Medina County. So that is where our tornado warning is right now. A tornado warning issued just a few minutes ago for Medina and Cuyahoga counties. It's a little, they try and give these things a wide berth, so to speak, give it a nice wide path to alert people that this is definitely a possibility. I have not seen anything from the National Weather Service that they have any spotter reports. There's no damage that has been reported as of yet, but of course people are certainly keeping a very close eye on that. I'm sure if you are in the tornado warning, your phone went off with some very loud noises, some very random kind of sounding noises that certainly got your attention. Maybe you didn't even know that your phone would make those noises, but that is that tornado warning, and that will go until 2 o'clock. That's the area see here shaded in purple. Outside of that, then we have the areas that are in orange that are the severe thunderstorm warnings, and that would include not only Cuyahoga but also Medina counties. And you see kind of how the cutouts are for that warning, that tornado warning in Medina and Cuyahoga counties. And the reason they do that is to try and keep it focused on the area of greatest concern. These storms are all moving to the northeast at like 40 to 50 miles per hour, bringing extremely heavy rain with them. And as they continue to move to the northeast there, they've just updated the warning. So you can see that the warning changed a little bit, but they're trying to keep Summit County out of it, so to speak. And that is just because they're trying to focus in on the best path that this thing might take. So they are certainly keeping an eye on it. Now, here's a new update. We still have that circulation going on. We are out of Brunswick now. So Brunswick, you are in the clear. We are in Hinckley, right between Hinckley and North Royalton on Route 3, and that would be right on Boston Road. So right at Boston Road and Route 3, that is where our circulation is currently. There you see it, the reds and the greens. See how that kind of swirl happens there? We have outbound and inbound winds that we keep an eye on. This is called the storm relative winds within the Doppler radar, and the reason this is significant is because it's showing us that we have that circulation that shows up. The reason we look at this wind product, the storm relative, is because it's also taking into account the way the storm is moving. So it helps us to really identify that area of the spin or possible spin that is showing up on the radar. Now, I've been keeping an eye on a couple different things here, and as I've been doing that, I haven't seen any what we call TVSs that have popped up. A tornado vortex signature. There's an algorithm that's built into these weather radars that will trigger an arrow, a box, a little icon of some kind that tells us where that greatest spin is. And when the algorithm is there, when the National Weather Service's radar says, hey, there is spin here, it raises a big flag. Now, you have to remember, not every tornado warning is prompted because there is a TVS. The whole point of having all of this radar data is to be able to see that, and sometimes the meteorologists can outsmart the computers, believe it or not. And as they do that, it gives us the ability to give you a heads up ahead of time. So we are seeing spin on radar, certainly, but that computer has not yet said it's significant enough that it is showing that algorithm off. So I think it's still better to be safe than sorry. That's why the National Weather Service issued the warning. And again, I haven't seen anything that has said there's damage. There have been no reports of funnel clouds or anything like that. I have people on Twitter who are sending me some pictures. They just said, you know, the winds are swirling and it's looking very gray and dark. But just to remind you that people certainly need to be inside, away from windows, and if you are in this area right here, North Royalton, Broadview Heights, Brecksville, Sagamore Hills, and Northfield Center, this is where we need to consider getting into basement time and heading downstairs. I will let you know when things are looking better, okay? We still see the spin on the radar. It is just north of Hinckley right now, right along Boston Road. So just north of Hinckley, the little crossroads there, which I think is Route 3 and 303, and then you move to the east. It's 94 and 303, I apologize. That is Ridge Road and Center Road there. That is the crossroads that's considered downtown Hinckley. And then as this whole thing continues to move off to the northeast, that will, of course, then bring areas like Brecksville and Sagamore Hills and Northfield Center into that. So we may end up seeing Summit County included in this tornado warning, the northern portion of Summit County, probably north of 303 here momentarily. Marcus?
Oh, and also, too, I know you mentioned a lot of people were reaching out to you via Twitter and Facebook. We got a couple of comments on Facebook on our Weather Warriors page, and it was just people talking about what they had to deal with just earlier today with the strong winds. Someone says, my dad was driving down the road, down 58 in Wellington, and he thought his Chevy was about to blow over because the winds were so strong. So these storms not only currently produce a tornado threat, but also have brought strong winds that have made it very difficult for people to drive around.
Right, and we saw, you know, a couple weeks ago in Brunswick, certainly the effects that wind can have. That was a non-warned storm that blew off the roof and the second floor of a house in Brunswick with high-end EF1 damage, and certainly that it was incredible to see in first person, but even the day after, they're cleaning up and getting things rebuilt. And as we go on through the rest of the afternoon, we just kind of have to keep an eye on things. So there's the current status of the tornado warning. It is still just that northern portion of Medina County. Literally, the circulation is right on the Medina-Cuyahoga County border. It is moving east, northeast, right along Boston Road. That's the border. Boston Road runs on the border there. And that will continue to move up into the extreme southern portions of Cuyahoga County and northwestern Summit County as well. And I would have to think the National Weather Service is taking a close look at Summit County for a possible warning upgrade here. Now, the National Weather Service says they will be continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Cuyahoga County. There you see it. Okay, so we've dropped Medina County's severe thunderstorm warning, and most of Cuyahoga County, including much of greater Cleveland, is now out of the severe thunderstorm warning. We take a look at the radar and you can see where the core of this storm is. Okay, this is the area where we have the greatest concern, that little arrow circle area right there in the extreme southern part of the county. So I'd have to think that driving along I-480 and 77 right now would be extremely challenging, which is challenging in those locations anyway, but this will continue to move off to the east-northeast. There you see it. So I would say right now I'm going to give a heads up to Summit County. There is no official tornado warning in Summit County, but I would like to give a heads up to northern portions of Summit County, specifically north of 303. So we're getting into areas like Sagamore Hills, Twinsburg, Macedonia. You're in there as well. This is probably north of Peninsula and Hudson. Let me get a track on this and we'll get some of these Summit County areas in. I would have to think this is probably a pretty good look at where this possible circulation is going. So Sagamore Hills, Bedford, Glen Willow, Solon, Aurora, but we would also put Twinsburg and Macedonia into that as well, and then kind of give the flag to Aurora and western portions of Cuyahoga County as well. Chagrin Falls, you folks are going to need to be on standby as this is going to continue to move your way. So we'll just kind of continue to track this as it moves to the east. We continue to get radar data updates, and you can see things are starting to look a lot more diffuse here. We're not seeing that very defined circulation that we saw before. See how kind of speckled it looks, and it kind of looks like salt and pepper's been thrown around. Just had a storm report come in from the National Weather Service in Valley City. Now remember, Valley City is where we first saw that this circulation was coming in. So Valley City is over here, right there, and that is where we had reports of trees down with roof damage now in Valley City. That is from the storm that prompted the tornado warning, and we continue to track this storm as it moves through the southern portion of Cuyahoga County. Hinckley, you are now out of it, so Brunswick and Hinckley are out of the threat for this particular storm right now, but we still have concerns for the areas right around where Summit, Medina, and Cuyahoga counties meet. That's between North Royalton and Richfield, Sagamore Hills, areas along and north of 303. Parma, I think this is going to miss you completely, so you're good to go in Parma. But certainly Route 21, the Turnpike area, as this continues to move to the east-northeast. I think that area where we saw the circulation is definitely looking better as far as it is not showing as well a defined circulation. But that is just about to move over the Sagamore Hills area, which is not tornado warned at this point. Summit County, there is no official tornado warning for you right now, but that tornado warning continues for Cuyahoga County, and I am literally waiting here second by second to see what the National Weather Service is going to do with this, because if they still see that circulation, which I think looks less right now, but they will reissue the tornado warning, and that will end up going into northern portions of Summit County as well. I-480 and Warrensville Center, there is a traffic cam for you, and you can see just how horrible the visibility is. You know, people on I-480, it's a speed zone for sure. So, okay, well, the National Weather Service, here's the update. Let me just get back to this real quick. The National Weather Service just decided to cancel or expire the tornado warning for Cuyahoga and Medina counties at 2 o'clock. So they are saying that that circulation has weakened enough that they are going to go ahead and let that expire. With the expiration of this tornado warning, we're going to kick it back over to programming, and thank you for everyone and your patience who was watching Days of Our Lives. I really apologize, but you know, our people matter to us more than anything else, and I know that certainly if this is in your neighborhood, you have a little bit different appreciation for what we're doing than those who probably are not seeing much of the action as far as storms go. But you can see on the big picture, things are definitely looking better as far as these storms, and once these pass, things are going to be off to a great evening. We're going to have a beautiful evening around the area, and then we'll just hold on for the chance for some showers. So we're going to go ahead now. We will send it back to programming right now. now, keeping a very close eye. Just remember, these thunderstorms can change very quickly as it continues to move to the east. So big red flag for Lake, Cuyahoga, Ashtabula counties, northern portions of Portage County, because you've got some rough weather that's coming your way as well. For now, we'll send you back to programming. Thank you.
It seems not.
May I do the honors? I hereby move to appoint Samantha DiMera as new CEO of DiMera Enterprises.